They're child predators caught in one of the state's most recent sting operations, spanning from Louisville to Rhineyville, Elizabethtown, and down to the southern border. 7 men arrested for child sex crimes, now facing 10 years to life in prison. But here's the reality. This case is one of hundreds of similar cases our local law enforcement's working across the state of Kentucky, and just a fraction of the thousands of complaints they receive every year.
And the accessibility to our kids is what makes them a perfect target. And they're vulnerable. They trust. They don't believe someone's trying to lie to them.
These criminals find your child on social media accounts like Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat, and many times will ask to move the conversation to another messaging platform.
You know, KIC hasn't intended it to go this way, but it has almost become like this underground, if you will, messaging platform. And a lot of it, you can have different groups. And the different groups can be, you know, pervs in Kentucky. You know, I like young boys, and it's really kind of creepy.
Then there's online gaming platforms like Xbox and PlayStation.
It's an independent form of communication to which you can have even when you're not playing the game.
And the person you're talking to can be just as fictional as the characters you're controlling.
Recently had a subject plead guilty, and he was basically on all the popular social media platforms and just posing as a young boy. In fact, he was 48 years old, registered sex offender, and had minor victims in Tennessee and Utah and different places. He had a tagline, I'm trying to remember what it was, like, "Hey, beautiful," every time.
Jeremy Wright with the FBI's Louisville division says that's when the grooming begins.
What I've seen is it starts more kind of modest. It's a clothed picture, and then it's just, "Oh, I need more, please give me more," and the compliments start coming. And then eventually they feel more comfortable. "Oh, you're okay, you're safe, you know, it's okay, I won't share it." And then it becomes a little more nudity, and then the videos are definitely more sexual in nature.
The end goal, to meet that child for sex.
And then if they can't continue to talk them into doing it, they're going to threaten them. And we call that sextortion.
The FBI is one of a handful of agencies across the state working to crack these cases, with forensic specialists working around the clock.
Our job has become increasingly more difficult with the amount of data that is available on these devices today.
Sifting through cell phones, laptops, DVRs, even the data in your car system for any evidence that could put a predator behind bars.
If we can't find it, we know people who do.
They work hand in hand with local, state, and federal police departments, each with their own caseloads, many of whom receive cyber tips from social media companies who are required to notify police when they find obscene images. Just look at these numbers from a recent New York Times investigation. In 1998, more than 3,000 child sexual abuse images were found circulating online. Just 2 years later, that number jumped to 100,000. And by 2018, over 45 million images and videos were flagged as child sexual abuse on the dark web.
We saw more kids here at this Child Advocacy Center than we've seen in 6 years.
That's Pam Darnell, the CEO of Family and Children's Place in Louisville. The center works closely with LMPD's Crimes Against Children unit to prevent child abuse and neglect, to stop it when it happens and help affected families heal.
About 30% of those were related to cyber and internet crimes.
Child advocacy centers play a huge role in these investigations, which hit a spike during the pandemic when both kids and adults were forced to stay home, spending even more time than usual online.
And it is our job as adults to do the very best we can to find out what is happening to keep that child safe.
Putting a stop to these predators and prosecuting them to the fullest. A minimum sentence for most of these cyber crimes is 15 years at the federal level, and a majority never go to trial.
They're going to plead guilty because the evidence is so good against them that there's really no case. Well, I think at this point it's up to us as parents, as school administrators, as just citizens, right, to do what we can to educate our kids to make sure that we don't fall prey to that.